Yo, what's up? It's Fragnick here with Smite Power Rankings. This is going to be my predictions for Phase 1 of the SPL in Season 10. And then I'm also going to do my predictions on the Week 1 matches. I think I'm going to start off with Solo Lane 8th to 1st and go down the list. I did one for the kickoff LAN. This was a while ago, before the kickoff LAN. I think things have changed since then, so I'm going to do it over again. I think for solo, I'm going to. I think I just got to start with Ducky. Unfortunately, it's either Ducky or Scary D for me at the bottom currently. Solo is a pretty stacked role. It's probably the most skilled role like in the SPL in terms of how close it is from bottom to top. I think Ducky is like a super sick solo, and for the bottom, I think it's between him and Scary D, and I just feel like Scary D has like more true hard carry potential, whereas like Ducky is like a kind of a mistakeless player. Doesn't take over too many games, but like he'll always like do his job and set up for his team. So I think Ducky goes there, and then I'm gonna put Scary D next. Now I think the next grouping is probably I think it's Nika, Baskin, Haddix, and FineOK currently. And at the moment, I know the Dragons did well in the kickoff tournament, but I feel like some teams weren't trying the hardest they could have been, trying to save things for SPL, or just not trying as hard in general. Like, I don't think Baskin will play Hunters every game. And the metal's a little bit different as well. I think I'm going to go with Nika. And then Baskin, FineOK, Haddix. For top two, I think it's between Variety and Sot at the moment. I think Sot's performance at the kickoff LAN showed just how good he was at playing like damage characters. I don't know if that's still going to be the meta, but defending world champion, Variety, I think for phase one at least, I'm going to give it to Variety. So moving over to jungle, this this is probably also a really hard role, but I think starting at the bottom, I think is just Kirmi. I want to see him pop off on his team, really. I do, but at the moment, I feel like he is towards the bottom. He sets up his lanes really well, which I think he does better than Oath. But Oath kind of makes the game his own sometimes. Whereas, like, I think Kirmi is, like, pretty consistent and he sets up his team really well. But I'd like to see more of, like, better performances from his team before I move him up. The Gladiators are kind of just a big question mark to me right now. I think they have a lot of chances to move up, but I don't think it happens in phase one. I would say the next grouping is probably Oath, Sino, Adapting, and Scream. Now, I think Scream could come out of the gates and like if he's like on his game could be the best jungler in the league, but at the same time, I feel like his performance varies quite a lot. Oath had a strong performance at the kickoff LAN, but I feel like he probably carries over some of that into the SPL, but I don't know like how hard teams were trying for the kickoff land. For adapting, hasn't played SPL in a while, but he was in the quarterfinals at Worlds versus the Kings, and I think he put up a solid performance there. And then Sino, obviously made the finals. Uh, I think he has like a better roster around him than he did in the finals, and I think this meta. I'm not sure if it favors him, but he always has like weird strategies, so I think that could be favorable for him with how with everything you can do with rotations right now. So I think, like going with my gut, I'm gonna say it's Oath, Scream, Adapting, Sino for right now, and then I think the clear top three is Panatom, Captain Twig, and Lasbra. I would say going into the spring split, I feel like Lasbra is going to be super hungry and Panatom's also going to be super hungry. I'm going to put Twig third. And between these two, I feel like Lasbra has a good performance almost every game, and so does Panatom. They're both like really big hard carry players. But just considering Panatom's done that exact thing for so long with less farm, obviously playing with Shinto before, like I think he's just going to be more consistent at it. So I'm gonna put Panatom. For mid is a hard role because I feel like the performance varies on how well your front line is doing in the SPL. Like your mid 3v3 is really determined on if you're ahead, behind. Um, Obviously these players can stand out in impact, but I feel like they don't control too much of the game in SPL. They just kind of hit their buttons and don't die. So like it's pretty hard for me to get a good gauge on this. I think Snoopy coming back into the SPL just starts at the bottom currently, and Benny Q is probably right above him, considering he's been playing the role a little bit longer. Um, Venenu, I feel like him and Barra and like a version of this Ravens roster has like been really good throughout the regular season of every year. And just like the fact that they're veterans on this roster like means they're pretty consistent. But every playoff performance of like the versions of this roster haven't really been good, but I think that Ven will be next, and I do think this team will actually be really good in the regular season. Um, so we have Pagon, Paul, BMT, Shinto, and Dardaz. Now Shinto, I believe, is going to be playing on Ping. I think he's in Uruguay still. So given that he's playing on Ping, I think actually I think he'll be below Venenu for phase one if he plays on Ping the entire time. Um, I think then it's Dardez. Wait, who am I missing here? Oh, okay, okay. So between these three, I think Paul and BMT have just done it really, really consistently. In the SPL for a long time. Pagon is like a star player and will carry the game and win his game tourneys or win his team tourneys. Can make the game completely about him anytime he wants to. But I feel like these two are just like complete players. They can carry the game just like he can, and their performances will be more consistent, and their bad games won't be as bad. So I'm gonna go with Pagon third, and then I'm gonna go Paul, then I'll go BMT. For support, I before the kickoff LAN, I feel like I was really, really off in this role. Um, so going into like the SPL's regular season, I feel like the Ravens are going to be a hungry team. So I don't think Herwin's last, where I think some people might think that. Inbound or Quig are both like question marks to me as well. I think they're both going to be hungry, and I feel like Quig's performance will really depend on how good his team is doing, especially Oath, how good they will work together. So for now, and I know a lot of people are really high on Quig, but for now, I'm going to put him last, and I'll put Inbound, and then Hurry. Here's the thing about this Ravens team. I feel like it'll be Haddix and Scream controlling most of the game with just like consistent carries and backliners. And then Herwind will be like a nice supporting factor. So like I feel like this team's performance overall in the league depends on how good Hurry actually is rising in support. I think I changed my mind. I think I'm gonna put Hurry and then Inbound. Um, just his overall experience in the SPL as a support just makes me want to put it over these two for now. Next, I feel like the role is pretty stacked. I know Jake had a really good performance at the kickoff LAN. Aurora, Genetics, Wrongu, PBM, they've all been like top of their game for a long time. Um, so I think based on the end of last season and like chemistries going into the spring split, I feel like Wrongu not having Panatom and Shinto being on ping, it's going to be hard for him, and it'll probably bring his performance down a bit, I think, while they figure things out. So for phase one, I think I have Wrongu here. Um, I think PBM is probably next because he's in a similar situation, just learning a whole new team, ways to play around them. I think him and Lasbra, if they have good synergy, he could be like number one support instantly. But for now, I'm gonna have him fourth. And then for these three, I think Jake's performance ranks him third easily, but I don't think he's going to be at the top quite yet because I don't think every single team was trying super super hard at the kickoff LAN. Um, and then I think it will be Aurora and Genetics. For ADC, pretty excited about this role. Obviously, I main this role, so I could be a little biased as uh, towards some players in here because I'm just a fan of theirs in general. But I think I think starting in the spring split, um, I really do think the Ravens will be a good regular season team. I don't know if that's going to be off Barra. I feel like a lot of people underrate Barra because he doesn't like necessarily pop off or carry games like a lot of ADCs can. I feel like Barra is really good at playing from behind. Like his team never plays his side of the map. Well, I guess I shouldn't say never, but I feel like most of the time when Haddix was on this team, they were playing through Haddix, and Barra was just like playing super defensively, trying to not get behind, and I think he did that really well. Uh, but I do think he is lower on the list than most of these players. Stewart made it to Worlds Finals. He had a really good Worlds performance, but his regular season splits weren't too good after he joined the Titans. I think they were a little bit lackluster. A lot of people were expecting him to do more. Coast is obviously hot coming into the SPL. I think he has tons and tons of potential. Um, Zapman probably is gonna take the spring split relaxed like he always does, kind of just chill. Work out the kinks in his team. But I can't see Zap being super motivated in the regular season with Shinto on ping. Um, I do think adapting and FineOK being super super hungry might motivate this team. So maybe Zap will be playing uh, like a higher level of gameplay in the spring split, but normally he doesn't. So I think the bottom three for me is gonna be Berra, Stewart, Zap, and then I think I'm gonna have Coast right above them. I think he could move up. I don't even know if he's necessarily here yet, but this is just my prediction. Um, then I have Netrioid, Cyclone, Yark, and Vote. I am really high on Vote. Like I think Vote has been one of the best ADCs in the SPL for a long time. He just didn't necessarily have a successful team. I think with like his new rotator roles, um, he is going to do a lot better. That's like my prediction, and he's going to have like better stats. Um, Yarkor obviously won Worlds. I think at Worlds he actually just looked like a pretty standard normal ADC. Like I think the roster change for the Kings changed their whole like team dynamic entirely. That's what they needed to win Worlds, and that turned them into the best team. But I don't think Yarkor's individual performance is why they won Worlds. I think it's because the atmosphere changed completely. So I think for right now, I'm gonna have him fourth, and then I think I'm gonna have Netrioid, and I'm gonna have Vote, and then I'm gonna have Cyclone. I think a lot of people might think I'm overrating Vote, but I really just think he's like that good at ADC. He's just like hasn't really had a ton of opportunities to play from ahead or like carry games, but I think he is very much up here with the hard carry ADCs. Um, so those are my power rankings for the phase 1 of the SPL season 10. And